I wanted to make this video to explain this assignment for you, to give you a quick refresher on what I'm going to be asking you to do to complete this assignment. The only difference here between what we've already done is that in addition to conjugating your verb in either the imperfect or the passé composé, you're also going to translate the sentence into English. And the reason you're doing that is just to reinforce that these are both past tenses and how each tense will translate into English. So as a reminder, the passé composé, it refers to one time that an action happened. So a verb like je suis allé would translate as I went. Depending on the sentence, it can translate as I have gone or I did go. Now, you're not likely to use I did go. Most likely you're going to use the I went or I have gone translation. The I did go would be used primarily in asking and answering questions. Did you go to school? Yes, I did go to school. The imperfect, the translations for j'allais would be I went, because the imperfect is something that happened repeatedly, as we talked about last class. So you can say I went often. You can also say I used to go. In English, the used to implies that it's repeated, but there's nothing about I went that can't be used in a repeated situation. And then the third translation would be I was going. And that's something that we'll deal with when we get into chapter 4, when we do more work with the passé composé imparfait. So for the purposes of this assignment, you'll be using I went or I used to go. So basically, your verbs can translate the same way into English, regardless of if you're using the imperfect or the passé composé. So when you go to conjugate the verbs in these sentences, the first thing you need to do is find your keyword. So you're going to want to pull up your document with your keywords, which is this one right here. Okay, so you're going to find, in this sentence, you have tous les étés. And then you're going to look over here. Anything that starts with tous les or toutes les is on the imperfect list. So we can go back over here and we can label that this verb, when you conjugate it, will get conjugated in the imperfect. The next one also starts with tous les, probably should have mixed it up a little bit better, tous les jours. So that also is going to be in the imperfect. The next one, and I'll stop at number 3 for giving you examples here, you see une fois, which you have over here on the passé composé list. So you label that that's going to be in the passé composé. Okay, I would encourage you to go through using these notes and to label all 15, find the keyword and which tense it's going to be. That way you can go through when you've got all of your imperfect, all of your passé composé, you can use your imperfect notes, conjugate all of those, and then use your passé composé notes, conjugate all of those. So just to finish off the first one as an example, you've got the verb aller. So je is our subject. This happens to be the example that I gave you up top. So this would be tous les étés, j'allais à la plage. And any expression that starts with tous les, in this case, été is summer. So it literally says all the summers, but a better translation in English would be every summer. Now you have the choice here. Every summer I went, or every summer I used to go to the beach. For me, it sounds more natural to say every summer I went to the beach. So you're going to complete this paper following this example. Find your keyword, identify if that means that it's the imperfect or the passé composé, and then use your notes to help you conjugate the verbs. You will get full credit for this assignment if you do the whole thing, and your verb conjugations make it obvious that you used your notes to try to conjugate. I'm not looking for perfect conjugations. Mistakes are okay, but if you do things like, well, this isn't the conjugation notes, but if you don't use any irregular past participles because you clearly haven't checked your notes, then you won't end up with full credit on this assignment. So please use all of your resources, use all of your notes. This is the only thing that you need to submit today. So I wanted to give you a shorter assignment so that you have time for anyone that owes any quarter 2 work, because the quarter will be ending on Friday. I want you to use the rest of the time to get caught up on any work that you might owe.